So I have a trip coming up here in the next week to Florida. I'm gonna spend a night, I think, camping. Got a tent for the truck. I've never done this before, so I thought it might be a good idea to try to put this together before we go. I've never said it. Gosh, it's been forever since I put a tent together, and I've never put, like I said, I never put one together on a truck. So this is from Amazon. I'm not really sure how the quality is going to be, but it says it fits a 5-foot bed and it's supposed to fit the Colorado. So this is the JoyTutus. I'm probably not saying that right, but it comes in this bag. This is not a paid, by any means, it's not paid, sponsorship, whatever, but it is, I bought it, my own money. So if this is bad, it's bad. But we're gonna give it a shot. I think it looked nice online. It looked nice, and I think with the mattress, it should work pretty well. I'm gonna have to take off the cover here, which I didn't even review the cover. The cover's been really good. It was also bought from Amazon, so I'm gonna kind of zoom into it. So I can't remember the name, and I'll probably post up the link to it, because I do think it has been pretty good. I don't know if you can see that. Yeah, you should be able to see that now. But the bed covers actually worked out really well. It's a soft bed cover. Fitment's good. It doesn't really leak at all, to be spoken of. So we're gonna try to put this together, like I said, just to give it a test run, see how it fits, to make sure that it can be somewhat, it's supposed to be water resistant. I think, well, if it rains, I hope it is. So we'll give it a shot. So let's go ahead and get this unpacked. I'm gonna take the bed cover off. I guess we can kind of walk through that, since I never reviewed the cover. It's pretty simple. I'm sure if y'all have had a bed cover, it's about the same as any. So there are these little things you just reach in here and all. Okay, and one on each side. That's really all there is to that part. Well, say that. Okay, there it goes. And it lifts up, and it's a tri-fold. And if I wasn't taking, well, I guess I need to do this. Since I'm going to take it off, you can clip. Need to clip these down into place. Well, there we go. And also this one too. Yep. And if he was leaving it down, or he was leaving it on, rather, you would just do this and clip it like that. But I am gonna have to take it off for the tent. So I'm gonna get into the truck. Give me just a second, we'll get into it. And I do have my toolbox back here. I'll just leave it. I don't think it'll make much of a difference. So I'll have to undo this. These were just kind of screw on. I'll have to put this back together when I'm done with it. Okay, there's that one. There's that one. So that'll come right off. All right. Oh well. So then you just kind of lift it right off. Well, try to set it up here just a little bit better than that. Well, then you just lift it right off after you got that undone. That's a very simple for sure. Let me pause here right quick. Well, it does look like this can be rather involved. But we shall see what comes in the bag. I mean, let me set you over here. Okay. Set you up. Okay. So the bag's really nice at least. But then you untie this, it looks like, and that's where I think the complicated part begins. So it does come with, it looks like a bag of poles. So they're tied up really nicely at least. That's handy. So I guess if you're overlanding, this could be very helpful. I'm sure that actually one of the mounted tents or something that goes on top of a mount or a bed mount or whatever you'd like to call it would be much better. But just if you're wanting to try overlanding or just something to get into it, something like this will be a good start. I'm hopeful. Oh, well, those are rather colorful. So they're orange. So I'm sure they're color coded, it looks like. There's a main pole. Looks like there is a, well, a main pole, a foyer pole, and a top pole. So A, B, and C. Doesn't really tell you what colors is which. I guess we'll just figure that part out. So looks like I'm assuming your longer pole, or your longer poles are your main poles. Looks like there's two main poles, one foyer pole and one top pole. So let's see. I think I've gotten the two main poles because they're the longer ones. Let me double check that. Well, it looks like there's three long poles. I don't know if there's a difference in those. It looks like they're the same size. I don't think. Not missing anything. Okay, so, well, it looks like the foyer pole's the same size as the main poles. I don't think there's any difference in terms of what they look like at the ends. No, they're all the same. So it looks like you can assemble it on the ground. So what we're going to try to do is assemble this on the ground and put it on the truck. So this might be rather funny to watch. So I'm not gonna lie, that was kind of difficult. I think that's kind of how it's supposed to look. I'm pretty sure. Again, it's just kind of a simple setup. Now it does have some hooks that you hook. I'm assuming to keep it from flying away. But I would imagine, you know, you're gonna have some weight in it, and they are metal. So what I'm gonna try to do, they are, like I said, they are metal. I would definitely want to go underneath it and get into the plastic like that, so you don't do any type of damage. And it has some straps so you can actually tighten it like such. We won't do that right now though. And just, you know, lightly tighten it, or tighten it enough so it's not gonna come loose. You know, I wouldn't do that to all of them. I don't think it's necessary, but that is handy. So it is a little bit wadded here in the center. I think if you got in and actually done a little bit more straightening, it would be okay. I would imagine it's not all that difficult to set up, but I mean, you know, I haven't done a tent, gosh, in forever. It does have this nice handy dandy hook right here, where I guess you could put like a fan or a light. So we'll get up here in just a second. It does have some windows there. And there's a window back here, which is nice, which should be about right where the bed of the cab of the truck is. Let's see, which will be nice, I do think. So it lines up pretty close. Like I said, I think you can probably pull it back just a bit further. Yeah. So you should be able to reach like your cords through there to your cab of your truck. And again, I mean, the good thing is you're up off the ground. Now, is it as good as like something like a, you know, off the, like a mounted tent? No, but it is nice. It's nicer than just, you know, being on the ground, especially, you know, if any of the, you know, animals and whatnot. And it should be easy to pack back up. But anyways, this is a JoyTutus. Again, it's for the 5-foot bed for the Colorado, it says. And I would assume for probably Tundras maybe, or anything else that takes has a 5-foot bed. It does have a water repellent cover. I didn't put that on, but I guess you can, and I would if it was gonna rain, which, you know, it may, so I might use that. And you could get a mattress, you know, an air mattress to go inside here. And that should be, I think that would definitely fit for sure, as long as you got the right size, and that would be making it a lot more comfortable. So there it is. You know, we'll see how it goes. So I do have to apologize. I know this video is kind of a mix up of different topics, different ideas. I know I had the tent, and I know, of course, I had some off-roading, and now I'm gonna actually talk about a different mod. But I didn't really have enough of just one thing to make a whole video, so I'm just gonna put it all together. So this idea actually came from another YouTuber, Colorado ZR2. It's the rear diff breather mod. I'm not doing the entire thing. I'm just adding a worm clamp to it. There is no actual clamping on it. They actually used a zip tie and just zip tied it to keep it down. But I'm assuming if you're gonna go off-roading and if you're actually gonna go submerge the differential underwater, there's a good chance it could come off. It's supposedly pretty loose on there. I'm gonna see how loose it is. And if it is, this worm clamp should take care of that. I am kind of concerned about warranty. That's the reason I'm not running the extra line. I may do that eventually. Again, it's just extra line. You can probably change it out, no problem, if you needed to. I think he ran his extra line all the way up to the tail light, and that gives you a little bit of extra clearance. Of course, if you're submerged, there's less chance of it being pulled off. I believe there was maybe a member on one of the forums that had theirs pulled off, and it actually had water go into the differential. And if you don't catch it in time, that can be a good way of actually ruining your rear differential. From my understanding, what I have heard is actually the front differential already has a long enough line, so you don't have to worry about changing that out. So let's go ahead and head underneath the truck, look and see what we're working with, add in just a simple worm clamp. This is not my ideal worm clamp. I actually got this at Advanced Auto. If you're not careful with just these plain ones, I don't think I can focus in on it. These are the top. Let me see if I can. Hold on 1 second, guys. I don't know. I'm gonna try for you. Let's see, trying. This camera doesn't do too well with focusing like this. Oh, there it goes. Oh, well, had it. Well, we'll give up on that. I think you saw it for maybe a second, but they actually make some worm clamps that don't actually cut into the rubber like these do. But if you're just really careful with this and you don't over tighten it, you shouldn't have any issue. The good thing is it is just rubber that can be replaced by fuel line, I believe. So if we have that issue, I'll just kind of keep an eye on it, just double check, and I'll replace it if necessary. But let's head underneath here and see what we got. I'm directly underneath the rear differential right here. This is on top of the differential, on the very top. And this is what we're working with. The truck's still warm. I actually just had it out a minute ago, so I gotta be careful. So as you can see, this has already been pretty dirty. I've actually had it, I guess, underwater a little bit, or at least muddy. So let's see how easy it comes off. Oh, yeah, that comes up pretty easy. I have not had this off yet. And there it is, one hand. So the plan is to put the worm clamp right here, tighten it down on that, and that should take care of it. So what's holding this, I think from what GM's perspective was to keep this actually down, and I'll show you the mechanism, their idea. And it's not really good idea, it's not good engineering, but they zip tied it, put the zip tie around the top. This is a one-way valve, so water can't get in. But again, if this is pulled out while you're off-roading by any type of debris or anything, water can definitely submerge down in there without you even knowing it until it's too late. But there's a zip tie. I don't know how tight that is in there. I don't think I'll put one, well, it's not very tight. So I may add a worm clamp up there, possibly too, we'll see. I have several different worm clamps, we may add a couple. But let's start with the bottom. It just takes a flathead screwdriver and of course the worm clamp itself. So, well, let me get my worm clamp. I brought it underneath the truck with me. Now it's rolled away. Hold on 1 second. Well, it was underneath my shoulder. Okay. So you want to put this in, of course, in a position that you're going to easily be able to get to it with the screwdriver after you put it on. So I'd put it on the outside facing you. And you should just be able to slide it on over there. Like such. And slide your, well, actually, have a better idea. Let's go the other way with it so it'll actually have more clearance. Sorry guys, I had that off the, I'm probably slinging it around everywhere. Okay, since I've been doing YouTube videos, I realize how hard it is to do things one-handed. But you get better at it. Okay. Well, okay. Push it on down in there. And then push your clamp over to make sure it's on there. Now this may take 2 hands. What I'm gonna do is just tighten it down with the flathead. And again, this is just your normal run-of-the-mill flathead screwdriver, so it's not, it's nothing special. I just wanna make sure that I actually have it level and even and all that good stuff. So hang on, I'll be right back. Okay guys, as you can see, I ended up putting one on the top and the bottom. Now, the bottom one I tightened up a little bit more than the top. The top one, you really don't need much because, you know, these worm clamps, I'll put the size in the description. They're pretty tight anyways on this hose. So you don't want to over tighten it because then it'll actually push that off more so than actually keep it on there. So definitely don't over tighten, just tighten enough to make it snug. And it definitely does not come off easy now. Now before I just pulled it up slightly and it came off, so that was definitely a chance that if that got wet, that thing could just slide right off there with some debris hitting it. So looking at the design just up close and actually figuring out how easy it is to take off, even with it like this, it still makes me a little uncomfortable, so I probably will still eventually relocate that or move that, making that a longer hose up to, say, the tail light. I'll pick a path. I'll figure out a path and move it up that way just to make it longer. So, you know, there can't be any water that accidentally gets in to the differential. Because I do plan to go off-roading. I do plan to get actually a little bit more deeper in water at times, which I already have. As you can tell, it's rather, I mean, the camera's acting funny. I apologize. Let me see if I can fix that. It's rather muddy already, as you can see. So, I mean, let me see. You might be able to see that way. So yeah, it's had its time in mud already, but it's gonna get even more muddy in time. So I think that the next best step would be actually to relocate that. But anyways, thanks to Coyote ZR2. The link to his video will be in the description, like I mentioned. So you have to check out his channel.